There comes a moment in every life when the world tests you, not with gentle whispers, but with storms that rattle your bones, with nights so long you forget the warmth of dawn, with failures so heavy they threaten to bury you alive. And it is in those moments, the dark, suffocating ones, that destiny leans close and whispers a single question. Will you persist? History does not remember the comfortable. It does not carve statues for those who quit at the first obstacle. It honors the ones who stood unshaken when everything around them urged surrender. Thomas Edison, after failing thousands of times to create the incandescent light, was told he was wasting his life. But he refused to quit, saying, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Henry Ford, ridiculed for dreaming that every family could own a car, fought bankruptcy in disbelief until his vision rolled across every street in America. Abraham Lincoln lost elections, businesses, and loved ones, yet still rose to the presidency and held a nation together through its darkest hour. These men did not possess magic. They were not born into guarantees. They carried within them the secret most never learn. Persistence pays. Persistence is not glamorous. It does not sparkle like talent. It does not roar like genius. It moves quietly, like a river cutting through stone, not by force, but by never stopping. Day after day, year after year, refusing to yield. And here lies the tragedy of most lives. People give up too soon. They knock on the door of fortune, but when it does not open immediately, they walk away. They plant the seed of their dream, but when it does not sprout overnight, they abandon the soil. They stand at the edge of transformation, and instead of stepping forward, they retreat back to comfort. But those who persist, those who dare to keep moving when progress is invisible, become unstoppable. They harness a law as old as creation itself. That steady pressure, applied with unwavering belief, will eventually break any wall, bend any resistance, and unlock any destiny. Look closely at the world around you. Every great monument of progress, every empire of wealth, every story of triumph, at its core is persistence. Walt Disney was told he lacked imagination. His ideas were rejected hundreds of times. His first studio collapsed, and bankruptcy stalked him like a shadow. But persistence pushed him forward until his name became synonymous with wonder and dreams. Oprah Winfrey was fired from her first television job, told she was unfit for the screen. But persistence carried her through the rejection, through the pain, until she became one of the most influential voices in history. Understand this. Talent is cheap without persistence. Vision is empty without persistence. Knowledge, strategy, even opportunity, all meaningless if you lack the courage to continue when the world tells you to stop. And persistence is not merely survival. It is not about clinging to existence. It is about the relentless pursuit of growth. It is discipline when motivation is gone. It is action when doubt screams in your ear. It is belief when evidence is invisible. Most people misunderstand persistence. They imagine it as brute force, grinding endlessly without intelligence. But true persistence is intelligent adaptation. It is the tree that bends in the storm but never breaks. It is the inventor who changes approach but never abandons a vision. It is the entrepreneur who pivots when markets shift but refuses to let the dream die. The world will test your persistence. It will throw obstacles disguised as failure, delays disguised as defeat, rejection disguised as final judgment. But those are illusions meant to separate the weak from the strong, the temporary from the timeless. And so I ask you, as destiny once asked Edison, Ford, Lincoln, Disney, and every soul who ever carved their name into history's pages, will you persist? Will you rise after the 10th fall, the 100th rejection, the 1,000th setback? Will you keep pressing forward when no applause greets you, when no light appears at the end of the tunnel, when no one believes but you? Because here is the unshakable truth. Persistence always pays. Maybe not on your timetable, maybe not in the way you first imagined, but it pays. It rewards the faithful. It crowns the resilient. It elevates the determined. It transforms ordinary men and women into legends. And the only question that remains is whether you will hold on long enough to see the reward. The mind is a battlefield where persistence is either forged into steel or left to rust into dust. Before the body quits, Before the hands let go, it is the mind that decides defeat. Every failure that ever ended a dream began not with circumstance, but with surrender within. That is why the greatest men and women in history did not guard their possessions first, nor even their reputations, but their thoughts. They knew that what you allow to live inside your mind will shape the outcome of your destiny. Napoleon Hill, after interviewing the most powerful industrialists, inventors, and pioneers of his era, revealed a pattern that has never changed. Those who persist are those who master their thoughts. Persistence is impossible without belief. Not blind belief, but conviction so deep that no rejection, no ridicule, no delay can uproot it. Think of the Wright brothers. Imagine two bicycle mechanics from Ohio declaring to the world that man could fly. They were laughed at, dismissed, even mocked as fools. But their persistence was not powered by public approval. It was anchored in an unshakable belief. And because they persisted, the skies today are filled with the roar of engines, proof that belief married persistence can conquer gravity itself. You must ask yourself, what do you believe about your own dream? Is it conditional, fragile, easily shaken by others' doubts? Or is it steel-forged, unbreakable, immune to the storms of opinion? Because the world will question you. The world will test the depth of your belief. And if your conviction is shallow, you will abandon your path long before the reward appears. Clarity is the compass of persistence. You cannot persist without a vision. It is like running endlessly without a destination. You will tire, you will collapse, and you will call it failure. But those who see with clarity, who can close their eyes and touch the future with their imagination, always find the strength to continue. They are not fueled by what is. They are driven by what will be. Picture Andrew Carnegie, a poor immigrant boy, working in a factory for pennies. Around him, the world saw only steel rails, soot, and endless labor. But inside his mind, he saw empires of industry, cities rising from steel, fortunes built on vision. That clarity gave him persistence to rise from poverty to one of the wealthiest men in history. Without vision, persistence withers. With vision, persistence thrives. Purpose is a fire that keeps persistence alive when all else fails. If your dream is only about money, about applause, about vanity, it will not endure the storms. But when your purpose is deeper, when your persistence is tied to meaning, to service, to something larger than yourself, then no setback can break you. Think of Martin Luther King Jr. His persistence was not for personal gain. It was for freedom, for justice, for the dignity of generations. That purpose gave him the courage to march when the world pushed back, to speak when silence would have been safer, to persist until his words ignited a movement that reshaped nations. Purpose turned persistence into destiny. Without it, you may quit. With it, you cannot be stopped. And yet, purpose and vision alone are not enough. You must wrap them in discipline. For persistence is not an emotion, it is a habit. Motivation is fleeting, like sparks that fade into darkness. But discipline is a slow, steady flame that burns through the night. Discipline is rising before dawn when the bed calls you back. It is studying when others are celebrating. It is pushing through the pain when comfort seduces you to quit. Every master of persistence, Edison, Ford, Lincoln, Carnegie, King, they all had discipline etched into their bones. They built routines, they honored schedules, they embraced sacrifice. Because persistence is not about one grand act of effort. It is about the small, repeated actions that compound into greatness. And here lies another truth. Persistence will not make you immune to failure. You will fall. You will lose. You will taste the bitterness of defeat. But persistence transforms failure from a grave into a stepping stone. It teaches you to see setbacks not as endings, but as lessons, not as walls, but as detours. When Disney's first animation studio collapsed, most would have quit, but persistence allowed him to learn, adapt, and rise again stronger than before. When Colonel Sanders had his chicken recipe rejected over 1,000 times, persistence carried him to knock on door number 1009. With a yes, that built Kentucky Fried Chicken finally appeared. Every no brings you closer to the yes. Every failure sharpens your approach. Every setback prepares you for the breakthrough. That is a hidden gift of persistence. It transforms suffering into strength, rejection into redirection, delay into destiny. So the question is not whether life will knock you down. It will. The only question is whether you will rise again, whether you will keep swinging when your arms ache, whether you will take the next step when your legs tremble, whether you will keep believing when evidence tells you not to. Because persistence is the bridge between the impossible and the inevitable. Every empire of the human spirit is built on the stones of persistence. The pyramids were not raised in a single season. Cathedrals that touch the heavens were not carved in a decade. The tallest redwood tree does not reach the sky overnight. It grows ring by ring, storm after storm, century upon century. Persistence is nature's law written in every river, every mountain, every star that refuses to burn out. And yet, impatient man, wants a harvest without the planting, the crown without the struggle, the summit without the climb. We live in an age of instant gratification, where the click of a button delivers comfort and illusion. But greatness does not come with a shortcut. Fortune is not found in convenience. Legacy is not purchased in haste. The universe does not reward the impatient. It bows only to those who endure. That is why persistence is rare, and because it is rare, it is powerful. If every man persisted, every man would be great. But most surrender. They taste a little pain and call it final. They meet delay and call it denial. They hear rejection and call it fate. But the few who refuse, those who burn with inner fire, these are the ones who walk into history. Consider again the steel of Lincoln, defeated in business, broken in love, crushed in politics again and again. He stood taller each time life sought to break him, until one day, the very qualities forged by failure made him the leader strong enough to hold a torn nation together. Without persistence, America itself may have fractured forever. Or look to Edison, working in a small laboratory, ridiculed by those who called him a fool. Had he surrendered after 100 failed attempts, the night would still swallow our cities. But because he persisted, the darkness fled before the brilliance of light. The pattern is eternal. The world resists you at first, but it yields in time. Life will test you, not because it wishes to deny you, but because it seeks to know if you are worthy of the reward. Every delay, every obstacle, every rejection is a question. How badly do you want it? And only persistence answers. But persistence is not blind stubbornness. It is intelligent endurance. It is the ability to adjust course without abandoning the destination. Like water, persistence flows around rocks, digs under soil, carves through mountains. It does not demand the easy path. It creates its own path. You may stumble, but persistence makes you rise. You may lose, but persistence makes you learn. You may suffer, but persistence transforms suffering into strength. Each scar becomes proof that you are still moving, still breathing, still fighting. Do not envy the man who succeeds quickly. Do not be jealous of the one who rises with ease. For when storms come, when fires rage, when the world shakes, only persistence can hold ground. Quick success without persistence is like a house built on sand. But persistent success is a fortress carved into stone. And as we move closer to the heart of this truth, let me remind you, persistence is not only about wealth or invention or leadership. It is a foundation of love, of character, of faith. Marriages endure not by fleeting passion, but by persistence through hardship. Friendships last not by convenience, but by persistence through distance and time. Faith survives not by easy blessings, but by persistence in the desert, when the heavens seem silent. Persistence is the soul's proof of desire. It is the evidence of what you truly value. For you cannot persist in what you do not love. And so persistence is not only a path to success, it is a mirror revealing who you really are. The world has enough dreamers, enough talkers, enough starters. What it lacks, what it desperately hungers for, are finishers. Men and women who stay when others leave, who rise when others lie down, who keep moving long after the crowd has gone silent. And so, if you would carve your name into eternity, if you would live a life that echoes beyond the grave, then let persistence be your heartbeat. Let it drive your days. Let it command your nights. Let it whisper to you when you are weary. One more step, one more try, one more day. For one day, when you stand on the mountaintop, when the world finally sees what you've built, when history writes your name in its pages, they will call you lucky They will call you gifted. They will call you chosen. But you will know the truth. You will know that it was persistence, silent, stubborn, relentless persistence, that paid the price and delivered the crown.